to take this bar soap and I'm just going to pop it in. And then look. Oh, isn't that the coolest thing ever? And while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you what happened. So check that out. These were made with my standard 1-to-1 water to sodium hydroxide solution. And they were made in, gosh, maybe December, January, I'm not sure. They were made in the winter. And I had these with me at, there's another spot. See that spot? It's DOS. I got DOS. I have not had DOS in soap in, since, the 2010s. You know, I mean, it's been a while. And the DOS that I got was because I was using tap water. It's, you know, gosh, it would have been earlier. Yeah, maybe 2011 or something like that. 2010, 2011 is about when I started making soap with my kids as a homeschool experiment for their chemistry lesson. And, well, we're just plowing through these. Anyway, I kept getting these weird little dots on my soap, and I was asking people, researching, figuring out what they were, and it's called DOS, or dreaded orange spots. I kept asking, what do you mean DOS? Isn't that like an operating system? Isn't that a computer language? But no, it's not that. It is dreaded orange spots, and it's basically rancidity. The soap's going rancid. Not the soap, but the super fat in your soap is going rancid. In my case, it was because I was using tap water, and tap water has a high mineral content, especially hard water, which I had. Well, it's even harder here. Oh, this is fun. One of the spots, you can see through it now. It's like almost transparent looking. Anyway, those hard minerals were reacting with the oil and the air and the environment, and I ended up with DOS on a lot of soap. I changed to distilled water, never had an issue ever again. Always kept humidity control and all that good stuff. Then flash forward to last fall, and I relocated back to my native land of Tucson, Arizona from Denver. And, you know, during the planning of the move, I was really worried about the humidity that I would be experiencing here during monsoon season, which is now. And I do have a little mini humidifier over by my curing rack, and it collects quite a bit of water. But the main thing that I'm doing is I have, and so I'm just turn this off for a minute. I have up here, sorry, I'm still here, hi, but I'm gonna turn you up. See that? That's called a mini split, and it's, or a heat sink, I think is another name for it. Just turn you back down. Anyway, it has a mode on it. Crazy Soap Lady used to get those dreaded orange spots with canola. See, I make a soap with high canola oil. I don't get any dreaded orange spots on mine. This is what happened with, even like, look at the edge of it. See how that's just fading out like that? I think this is a huge bit of DOS. It's crazy. Okay, so we're in Tucson. We have a cold, very cold winter. It's the desert. It's dry. Not an issue. But then I'm at farmers markets, and I had to stop the farmers markets because the soaps are getting sweaty. And this soap, and only this soap, got DOS. And this is my theory. These soaps, and the only portion of the batch that got DOS were the soaps I had at the farmer's market. So not the entire batch got DOS, just the ones at the farmer's market did. And I know which ones those were just because of my inventory system. So what happened at the farmer's market is it got really, really hot, and my soaps started sweating. But not all of my soaps were really sweating. It's the ones that were sitting out, you know, and I had them all displayed, soap on soap, kind of in this nice little tower, naked. what I call my signature soaps, the ones I make in huge bulk, are all in these bags. So they weren't exposed to the air and the heat as much. These never sweated as much as the naked ones did. So, bonus for the bags, I think. Alright, so I've got these soaps sitting there sweating, and I'm worrying about my soaps. They were also exposed to sunlight, which could have been a larger factor than the heat. Could have been the super hot sunlight being exposed to these soaps. So, all of that rambling, and let's see if we can follow the timeline here. Soaps made with my standard recipe, same water as everything else. These soaps were exposed to the sunlight and extreme heat outside, were not covered in a bag. They were then brought back, and only the ones that had been outside, and not until monsoon season where the humidity skyrocketed to 40, to like negative humidity, to 40%, 30%, 40%, then it goes up and up, and I think we even had a couple like 90% humidity days. It was crazy. And once that humidity started, I started to get DOS on the soaps. The interesting thing is, once I realized, oh, this is a really nasty spot that's getting very orange. It's called dreaded orange spots, even though they're not always orange. But if you look on the edge of that one, can you see that it's actually orange? It's in the middle, really teeny tiny. Yeah, but I started getting DOS once the humidity skyrocketed, but once I realized the problem and put in the dehumidifier and put the mini split on its dry mode, so it's very dry in my studio now, the DOS stopped. The DOS stopped, meaning these spots have not really gotten any worse. I have not seen new DOS spot development. If there was DOS existing, so like the spot I showed you that was getting more yellow, those kept growing, but no new spots developed. Okay, Tracy, you said, yes, for me, Tracy said, so for you it was storage issues. I kind of think it was a combination of issues, Tracy. I think it was soaps that had been exposed to heat and had sweated, so soaps that had been stressed out, and then also exposed to humid storage. Now, keep in mind what I said. All of my other soaps, and I panicked when I saw this. I went through every single bar of soap that had ever been at a market with me when I saw this happening. And so that was maybe I had about 100 bars of soaps left over that had been to a market for at least one day. And I opened every single bag. I opened every single paper bag, because sometimes I'll store them in a paper bag. And this was the only one that had DOS. It was the only one that had been displayed naked. So I was really fascinated with it. I'm scrolling down so I can see. Oh, hi Judith, thanks for joining. And Tracy says, the mini split is good to know about. First time I've seen it. Yeah, it's also called, I think it's called a heat sink. It works by basically moving hot air around. So if you put it on cold, it takes the hot air out of your room. If you put it on heat, it pushes hot air into your room. But it also has that dry mode. This is so fun. Oh my gosh. It looks like a lot because there's so much air. I mean, it's the same mass, but oh my goodness. Yeah, and I also wondered if the DOS was because of the recipe, but remember I told you not all of the bars got DOS, only the ones that had been at the farmer's market. So I immediately pulled the ones that were at the farmer's market. I think I had made like 150, 200 of these bars, something like that. And only the ones that had been at the market DOSed. And only these bars from the market DOSed. And then my shampoo was fine, my oatmeal soap was fine, my lavender shaving soap was fine, my charcoal soaps were fine. I even cut a couple of them open just to make sure. I mean, I really kind of panicked over it. I had some Castile soaps, they're fine. Everything else was fine. Even soaps that had the same recipe but had been packaged at the markets were fine. And it was crazy. So that's all of our soap. Wasn't that cool? Oh my gosh, we totally graded all this stuff up. That was awesome. That in the past would have been like hours and hours of knuckle grating insanity, unless I was binge watching something on Netflix while I did it. So this thing was pretty cool. So there, we have these all graded up. So, all right, why on earth do I want to save soaps that had all these issues and had DOS on them, right? Because we don't want to sell it. We don't want to just, if you rebatch this, if I melt this down and do a traditional rebatch where you just melt it down and shape it into a new soap, I'm still going to have DOS. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for popping in. If I do a partial rebatch, I'm just going to be contaminating new soap with DOS. So what the heck are we going to do with it? I am going to, not today, we don't have time today, I'm just getting everything prepared for it. But I'm going to salt it out. And salting your soap out is really freaking cool because you can do things like remove bad color, remove bad scent, remove DOS, any gunk in your soap that you don't want, you can salt it out. And it does, salting out your soap, you basically heat all of your soap up, you dissolve your soap in water. Once it's all dissolved, you chuck it, this is the basics, you chuck in the lye, there's some math around it, so I'll have a worksheet for you and all that good stuff. Water, heat it up, add your soap, dissolve it, chuck in your salt, and then magic happens because, and we all know when I say magic, I mean science. Science happens. And the magic of science in this case is the salt, the chemical reaction of the salt, it separates all the gunk from the actual soap molecules. So your superfats are removed, which is what all the DOS is sitting in, your scent, color, all the glycerin is removed. If it's lye heavy, the lye will be separated out. You end up with this murky water of salt water and glycerin and lye and sugar fats and loose fats and anything else sitting in the bottom, but floating on top is the soap, the saponified, or just the soap. So those molecules will float, and then you can skim those off. And you have to do it. It's kind of a lengthy process. And then in the tutorial, I'll have more detailed explanations other than me rambling like a caffeinated maniac on Facebook. And you'll also have worksheets. I'll show you how to calculate how much salt, water, and what you can do with it. And then once you're done salting out the yucks from your soap, we'll also talk about how to add in more super fat, or maybe incorporate it into a new soap as is, and we'll also do some fun salting out that will make some laundry powder that I've done in the past too, so that's pretty cool. Tracy says, yay, salting for laundry, was hoping you'd see that. Exactly, because when you use soap for laundry, you want to use, you don't want the super fat, you don't want the glycerin, all the extra stuff that works great on your skin, not so much on your in your laundry. So that that's it in a nutshell, I think. I still can't believe I just did this all in like 20 minutes. Bye, Sophie friends. See you soon.